Okay, so this is a re-recording of the first day video because the other one had a whole lot of problems. So this is Math 143, Quantitative Literacy. I'm Caleb English. There's my contact information and my office location and my phone extension. If you want to dial it from the outside, it's 835-4275. So let's go ahead and go over a couple things. Office hours, Monday and Wednesday, 10 to 10:30, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 to 12. So if you need to find me in my office during those times, just stop by if you're on campus. Requirements for the class, you have to have either taken and passed 025 or possibly tested out of the whole thing, or you have to qualify for the Math 045 co-requisite, which you take at the same time as this. And again, it depends on your GPA or test scores, or you always want to see this academic support center over in Harper to make sure that you, if you need it or not, check your requirements. So maybe you do, maybe you don't. It just depends on a couple of things. Okay, so we've got textbooks and materials. First, you have a provided textbook, which means that you don't have to buy one. It's a PDF copy. So it's provided for you in the class. We don't even use it that much, so don't fret about that. There is an optional textbook that you can buy if you want to. You don't have to. It helps if you've got kids in middle school because it's technically a middle school book, but it's got a lot of steps and things that we use in here. The non-negotiable is the scientific calculator. You need to make sure that you have that. The preferred one is a Texas Instruments TI-30X2S. That's the best one. If you like Casios, then I can't help you if it tears up because they are terrible. Okay, so our grading in here is points based. All right, so there are 2,000 total points available in the course. If you want to finish with an A, you've got to finish the year with at least 1,800 total points. Now, those points should calculate and adjust as the semester goes on. If it's not in the grade book, let me know. There's probably a box I have to check to make sure that it will. So we use ranges. So on your final grade for the class, you'll only get a letter. You won't get the number. It'll just say A, B, C, D, or F. So essentially, if you want to make sure that you have an A, you just need to make sure that you have at least a 90. A student that has a 90 and a student that has a 99, they are going to get the exact same letter grade. So, just keep that in mind. If you're one of those that has to have hundreds on everything, don't beat yourself up about it. Just make sure that you're staying in the range that you want to be in. If you're shooting for a B, 1,600 points to 1,799. If you're shooting for a C, that's 1,400 to 1,599. Now, D. A D is passing, but it is not transferable. So if you finish with a D, you are more than likely going to have to retake the course. And if I see that you're headed for an F, I will most likely talk to you about a withdrawal before that happens. I have had folks withdraw from the class and, it's like they're never there. I have dropped people before. I've also had some that decided they wanted to stay in the class and see if they could finish it out, but they still wound up failing. So we'll check in before the last date to withdraw to make sure you're where you want to be, and if you're not, we'll discuss options to make sure that we're picking the best one for you. And of course, if I don't hear from you for an extended amount of time, I'll just drop you anyway. All right. So where the points come from? You have section quizzes. These are the labs associated with the numbered lessons like Conversions 1 that by this point we've probably already been looking at, and so on. Each weekly lab or weekly quiz is worth 100 points. There are 10 section quizzes or section labs, whichever you want to call it. So 10 of those times 100, that's 1,000 points right there. That's half your grade, is just doing the regular weekly assignments. There are section tests as well. Each section has 2 section quizzes or section labs and 1 section test. The weekly quizzes we said are worth 100. Well, a section test is worth 150. They're worth a little bit more. There are 5 of those. So 5 times 150 is 750. So 1,000 from the regular labs, 750 from the test. So there's 1,750 points right there. Late work and redos. Labs and tests that you miss the initial due date on can be made up for a late grade or redone for a higher grade within a week of that date. Up until this semester, late grades only carried a 20-point deduction. That was not getting the results that I wanted from people to turn stuff in on time. So now late grades carry a 30-point deduction. That is a 2-letter grade drop. Redos only apply to labs that are turned in on time. We will talk more about that when we comb through the syllabus here in a minute. The final at the end of the semester is worth 250 points. You only get 1 attempt at that. It cannot be retaken or made up, and I do not give extensions in this class. Every assignment that's open to you is open for 8 days. If you can't get something done in 8 days, that says a lot more about you than it does about me. So make sure that you are keeping up with everything. All right, so the path to succeed in this class, again, come to class prepared, pay attention, take notes, don't cause problems under the activity section over there. When you get to class, all right, first get to the class regularly and on time. If it's an online class, you need to make sure that you log in daily or weekly at the least, preferably daily. When you are in the class, keep up with the quizzes or labs, whatever you want to call them. Falling behind on those can add up very quickly. It's like quicksand. You may not be thinking much at first, but it'll get to you before you know it. Same as tests. All right, since tests count more, they carry a bigger penalty if you don't turn one in. All right, path to success. Do your work on time. Do check your email every day. Do check Moodle weekly at the least. We said weekly at the least, but preferably daily. Watch for messages from me. Use our Math Center. If you need assistance outside of class, we are working on finalizing the days and times for our Math Center. More about that will be coming in the announcements. Do not lie to me about why you didn't get something done. If you miss a due date, just be honest. Every time somebody tries to make a big excuse about why they weren't getting anything done, it always comes in threes. There was one where this person's husband left them, their dog died, and their dad got put in the hospital all in the same week. So whether that happened or not is not for me to determine. All I know is it's due on Tuesday. All right? So make sure that you are keeping up with everything. And if you do miss something, or if you know that you're going to be gone, tell me the truth. I would much rather you tell me the truth than make up some sort of story. It's either a story that you're making up or you've got the worst luck in the world. Do not let yourself go past the maximum allowed missed assignments. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Don't cause problems in class if you are in person by being a constant distraction or asking so many questions that no one else gets to. So this is something that's like when you see a warning on a hairdryer that says don't use this in the shower. This is in here because I've had to deal with this. And do not cheat. I give you so many resources that you have no reason to cheat. All right. My Math 143 AI usage policy. Now that the computer's froze, there we go, is that there is no tolerance for it. All right, do not use AI in this class. The main reason why we don't use AI in this class is discussed on the video on the next slide.
You don't need it!
That's why we don't have it, because you don't need it. All right, so attendance violations that will lead to withdrawal. First, if you don't complete the census assignment, if the census assignment is not completed by the posted due date, you'll be marked as a no-show and removed from the course. One of my census assignment due dates came through yesterday, so I've got to go check that here in a minute and make sure that everybody got it done. Don't, let's see, if you miss two consecutive weeks of assignments, all right, so 2 consecutive weeks of overdue assignments will get you administratively withdrawn from the course. This applies to all 16-week late start and fast track courses, both web-based and online. So it's not necessarily just 2 assignments, because there are a couple of weeks where you have to double up. It's 2 consecutive weeks of overdue assignments. 4 total overdue assignments. So again, this also applies to all 16-week late start and fast track courses. So if I'm going through the grade book and I see a whole bunch of zeros, if I see at least 4 of them, we're going to have to talk. If it's a web-based class, which is what my in-person classes are, 2 consecutive weeks absent or 6 total absences. Web-based classes have an attendance requirement. You have to be here. I have had people that have had to let go from the class because they went over this. Students who meet any of these conditions will be administratively withdrawn from the course and will receive a grade of a WA that goes on your in your records that says you were in the class but you didn't meet the requirements and the administrator withdrew you. Withdraw from an administrator, WA. Furthermore, every 2 times that a student is late to a web-based or hybrid class will result in 1 absence and will count towards your total absences missed. So here are what you don't want to do to make sure that you don't get kicked out of class. All right, so we're going to go through the syllabus and look at a couple more things such as academic ethics. We'll expand on the AI policy. We're going to talk about the student rights and conduct and everything like that. Adverse weather, FERPA, disabilities, copyright, classroom etiquette, Moodle Messenger etiquette, and we'll talk more about cheating and plagiarism. Okay. If I can get this to work. Given my microphone troubles, it's not a surprise that we're having issues with this. Okay, so if you look over here in Moodle, when you open Moodle, the first thing that pops up is the Announcements tab, all right? Of course, the course name is up there at the top, but the Announcements tab is the main way that I communicate with everybody in the class. If I were to open this, you would see that since the class has already started and this is a redo video of the first day video, I've already sent some things out. I sent a welcome announcement out on the 17th, some things about fixing the census assignment since I had to update the syllabus. I've been updating my video library to get rid of some old videos because they are so old that they were misleading. And I've talked about how I've been having some hardware problems with my microphone. Turned out one of the cords that I was using with the microphone had a short in it, and I didn't know it until about 30 minutes ago. Of course, hopefully the late start folks won't know this because they can't see the videos yet. All right, so below the announcements will be the census assignment tab. All right, so the census assignment tab, again, this one closed yesterday. For my late starts, it's not even open yet. It will open on the 26th of this week, so just make sure that you know that. Of course, by the time they see this video, it'll already be open, when I put it that way. Okay, hopefully the syllabus is the correct version now. If it's not, I've gone too far in the video. I'm just going to fix it, or I'm just going to roll with it. I fixed it a minute ago. We'll see if it works now. Nothing wants to save this semester. All right, so again, this is all the stuff that was in the PowerPoint, textbooks. Again, the textbook that we use is a PDF in the Moodle course. There is nothing for you to buy. It is an old book, as you can see, and we hardly ever use it anyway. But if you're going to make sure that you buy anything for the class, get yourself a scientific calculator because you can use it after this class as well. So again, here is the information about the grading system. I literally just copied and pasted it over into the PowerPoint. 2,000 total points. Here's where you need to be to make sure that you get the grade that you want. All right. Something that I didn't mention before in the PowerPoint. Every regular assignment will have something called a student copy. So every quiz, every lab that's got a number beside it will have a student copy. What that is, it's basically just a worksheet. You can print it out and work on it before you submit your answers. When you submit your answers, the choices will be scrambled in a different order than is shown on the student copy. It's not just the choices that'll be scrambled, it's also the questions. It's to keep people from just copying each other's answers down. Each answer entry has only one attempt, so pay attention to what you're doing. Section tests do not have a student copy for safety purposes. Every regular lab or regular quiz and every test is open for 8 days. If you want to redo something or make it up because you missed it, you only get 7 days after that. starting with the summer courses of 2024, if an assignment is to be redone, it must be redone within a week of the initial due date posted in the bottom corner of the assignment module. For example, if an assignment's original due date was posted as July 15th, then the redo attempt or the late grade attempt must be requested and completed by the student by July 22nd. So here are the conditions for redos. All right, redos or late grades, whatever you want to call it. So if the assignment was completed on time, but you don't like the grade, in this instance, the assignment can be redone for full credit within a week of the due date. I will make you wait until the due date passes before I put the redo in, because I don't want people just going in, skunking it on purpose, and then trying to go about it that way. I will make you wait until the due date passes, because I've also got to code who turned in on time and who didn't. So if the assignment is overdue, when a due date is missed, it's considered overdue regardless of circumstance. Like I said, whether you're telling me the truth in an excuse or not, I'm going to tell you the same thing. It's due on Tuesday, because I'm not going to chase down whether you are actually under the circumstances that you were. If you just forgot, just tell me you forgot. I've had people say that, and like I said before, I've had people make some sort of crazy excuse. Our dog stole the gun, robbed a liquor store, held us at gunpoint in the basement, whatever. It's still due on Tuesday, all right? If there are any circumstances preventing your completion of assignments, contact me immediately. If you know that you're not going to have something turned in on time, tell me ahead of time. Don't tell me after the fact. If you tell me ahead of time, we'll work with you. All right, we're going into winter. There's going to be some illnesses going around. Flu season's coming up pretty soon. Now, that being said, I don't expect everybody to all of a sudden have the flu whenever you don't turn something in on time. All right, it's much better for you to turn in on time as to not. Again, late work policy. Labs or quizzes that are not turned in on time by the due date can be turned in anytime within a week of the original due date for a 30-point deduction. If it is not turned in, it will remain a 0 and remain locked for the rest of the semester. So let's say that Conversions Lab 1 opened on August 24th. It's due September 1st. If it's not turned in by September 1st, you got until September 8th to get it done. If it's still not turned in by September 8th, then that 0 will stay in your grade book for the rest of the semester, and I will not open it back up. Course structure. So this is not a hybrid course, but I felt like you needed to know how a hybrid course worked. Hybrid course, over 50% of it has to be done online. So if you're in a hybrid course, check with your instructor to see how often they meet, because it's different with everybody. Online course, again, everything is done online, so your attendance is taken by turning your assignments in. All right. Web-based has 2 attendance requirements, a physical one, and turning your assignments in on time as well through Moodle. So just make sure that you take care of that. Attendance and withdrawal policy. So if you don't complete the census assignment by the due date, if you miss due dates on 2 straight weeks of assignments, if you miss due dates on 4 assignments total, or if it's web-based, I don't see you for 2 straight weeks, or you accumulate 6 total absences, then I will follow through with the administrative withdrawal policy. I will usually try to let you know first, but if I've reached out to you and I haven't heard back, out you go. Late start adjustment, same thing. Fast track adjustment, same thing. Okay? But if I ever do a web-based fast track, you only get 3 absences instead of 6. So this just kind of goes through more about the attendance policy. Just get to class, okay? Don't sign up for a class that you can't get to on time. It's just a good rule of thumb. And don't be late. Remember, when if you're late, I count that as a tardy, and I count it toward your attendance every 2 that you rack up. Any student who has not attended at least one face-to-face class meeting or completed one assignment activity for an online class by the date in which the 10% mark of the class is passed will be reported as a never attended. So that kind of goes back to the census assignment. The number of days you can miss is calculated as 20% of the total hours for the course. So that's where that came from. If you wish to withdraw before the 75% point of the course, you've got to complete a withdrawal form, obtain your instructor's signature, then return the form to Student Development Services in the Harper Building. This is a digital form now. It's on the website. They don't have the paper forms anymore. If the official procedure is followed, you will get a grade of a W. It's like you're never even there. The 75% date to officially withdraw from the class is announced during the course because I have so many different course offerings, it's different every day. So, or different every class, I mean. So whenever it gets close to the last day to withdraw yourself from a class, I will let you know about a week or two before that so you can, plan accordingly if you need to. Excused absences, we do have a form for that. They're typically for religious observances. I don't have any of those excused absence forms, but I can find one for you if you need it. Any missed work must be completed by the first class meeting when you get back. The Go Figure initiative is something that we've been doing for the last several years, is to encourage people to take their math classes sooner rather than later because there is documented evidence that does help you get a better grade as opposed to if you wait. Academic ethics, this can all be found in the catalog and handbook. That's digitized now too. The AI policy, I have it, like I said, I have a zero tolerance. I consider that plagiarism or cheating because neither one of those will be tolerated. Assignments in this course will require you to read and think for yourself. The use of any assistive technology for accommodations purposes must be approved by your instructor before use. The use of generative AI programs to complete assignments is strictly prohibited. Failure to comply to this rule may result in the following penalties: an F on the assignment in question or an allowance of a second attempt on the assignment in question. Again, I give you everything that you need to have to complete these assignments. There is no point for you to do generative AI for it. I always tell the students, would you want to be, if you had to have surgery, would you want to be operated on by somebody that got their medical degree using ChatGPT? So if your answer to that is no, then why is it okay for you to use it but not them? It's not. So do not use any generative AI in this class, period, no discussion. All right? Student rights, standards of conduct, discipline appeal, grievance procedures. If you need to make an argument for why you needed to use ChatGPT when I explicitly told you not to, then you can go through the appeal procedure here. You can find it in the catalog. Adverse weather policy. You need to make sure that you're signed up for the text alerts. You need to text join TCCC alerts to 31002. That will help you get signed up for that. You can also find it on Moodle. I'll try to send it out if I can, but it's also on the Tri-County Facebook page as well. FERPA privacy, Leon's Law. So again, basically what this says is I can only speak with you about your grade unless you have given written consent for a parent to talk about it with me as well. If you are a minor, meaning if you are under 17 years old, then your parents under Leon's Law can request a copy of your grades if they want it. So to the extent allowed under FERPA, colleges must provide access to a minor student's education records to school administrators and school counselors at the school in which the student is duly enrolled. To the extent allowed under FERPA, and unless the parent opts out of receiving education records, colleges must provide parents with access to a minor student's education records. Now, this is not a, let me call the instructor and see what your grade is type of thing. That will not work. I will not give it to you. There is a form that you have to fill out. It has to be approved, and then you can get it, all right? There's a process to this. You can't just call and say, I need little Jimmy's grades. I'm going to say, Mrs. Little Jimmy's mom, you got to call the Harper Building and get the form filled out. Disabilities policy. Tri-County complies with all provisions of the Americans with Disabilities Act, makes reasonable accommodations upon request. This kind of goes back to the AI assistive software. That would fall under this. If you have a accommodation, like let's say that you got an accommodation when you were in public school and you want to make sure that you get it in college, you have to fill out new forms, essentially. So you need to contact Kendrick McDonald, and he can work on getting that set up for you. Copyright policy, again, don't be selling stuff out of the class. Cheating and plagiarism, don't do it. Classroom etiquette, basically, don't be a distraction. Moodle Messenger etiquette. Okay, so if you're going to contact me on Moodle Messenger with a question, here are the hours when you can do that. During the fall and spring semesters, anytime 7 to 7, Monday to Saturday, you'll probably get a pretty quick response. If it's after 7, it's going to have to wait till the next day unless it's a Sunday. You'll notice Sunday is not up here. All right, a Sunday problem is going to have to wait for a Monday solution because I'm not a customer support service. Moodle Messenger keeps a record of everything that you send to me or to another student. So keep that in mind before you type it up. Some people forget that when they get angry about something. And if it's bad enough, I have to report it. I had a student a couple years ago missed the last 2 assignments and the final because they were a high school student and they were gone to baseball playoffs or something. Didn't tell me beforehand, told me after the fact when it was too late, and the message said, can I get the last 2 assignments opened up? I was traveling for baseball. Oh, and if I could get the final open back up too, that would be awesome. I wanted to say, I bet it would, but I didn't because Moodle keeps a record of everything. So keep that in mind. Math Center, our 143 math tutor is currently Hannah Bailey. I'm working on getting her schedule finalized, and once I do, I will send that out through Moodle and post it around campus if you need it that way. It's looking like it's going to be a Monday and Friday schedule, but we haven't finalized it just yet. Schedule of assignments. The semester schedule of assignments is embedded in the Moodle course. I got tongue-tied there. So let's go talk about that. All right. So, excuse me. The fall weekly schedules are different for every section. So this is the 16-week schedule. As you can see that by now they've already been working. The Conversions Lab 1 opened up on Monday and it'll be due next Tuesday. If I go to a late start section, for instance, if I click on, see the first late start I'm going to have tomorrow. So WLA1. So let's click on that one. So if I go to that and click on that fall weekly schedule, you can see that it is a smidge different. All right, so let me do a side-by-side here. Okay, so 16-week schedule, you will typically have 1 assignment due per week. With a late start, when it starts on the 26th, when it starts on the 26th, the only thing that's going to be available to the late start is the census assignment. The regular lessons will not open until the 31st because I want to make sure that you only have the census assignment due the first week so you don't forget to do it. Starting August 31st, for both sections, Conversions Lab 2 will be available, but for the late start, you're also going to need to do Conversions Lab 1. Now, yes, that may not seem fair, but I have to get all my classes on the same grading schedule so I know who's got what due when. I probably should have moved this down here to match the other one, but small potatoes. Just make sure that you know that if you are attending an in-person class on Labor Day, you will not have that class. It is a holiday. Now, if you notice, for the most part, the rest of the schedule for the late starts is identical to the one for the 16-week classes. If I go to a fast track, of course, I only have a fast track 2 this semester, so it won't start until after fall break. So fast track 2 will start at fall break. They have a much different schedule. They have entire sections due at a time. All right. So the first week they've got the census assignment. Then the next week they've got the entire conversion section. The week after that, the entire percent section. The reason why I'm telling you this now is let's say that you're in this class, you're in a 16-week or a late start right now. We get to around fall break, which is around the 12th of the 12th and 13th of October. things ain't working out, you fell behind and you want to try again. What we can do is you can withdraw yourself from the 16-week one and then reapply for or re-register for the fast track. Now, that will give you a second crack at it, but as you can see, it works at a much different speed. So keep that in mind, okay? You can try it again, but it's going to be a lot quicker. So when this opens up for the late start folks tomorrow on the 26th, all of this will be available to you by then. All right. Excuse me, moving along. There is the textbook file if you need it. This is a downloadable PDF. If you're wanting to have it, I would only download it once and I would save it to your desktop like I did on my presentation laptop in my class. I've got it downloaded and saved up there so that if I ever want to pull it up, I'll pull it up through that. I won't click on that link I just showed you because like I said, every time you click on this, it's going to download it and you're looking at downloading like 600-700 pages. All right, so just keep that in mind. When I get done recording this first day video, it will replace this stinker right here because that was when the microphone was bad. I thought I had everything fixed, but that was just pertaining to the syllabus. You can also find the slideshow I just went through right here up above it. Something I'm doing new this semester to try to, encourage engagement, I guess, is the Math 143 Fantasy Football League. It is football season. We are going to be underway here pretty soon. This ties into our conversion section because that's how fantasy football points are tabulated. They are converted. If a running back gets 100 yards in a game, in fantasy football, they get 1/10 of that. So a 100-yard game would give you 10 points. Excuse me. Again, fantasy football is converted from actual game data. Pardon. This league will run if it makes, will run the entirety of the semester, and it's just something fun. It is entirely free and optional. You do not have to do it. It is not required and has no effect on your final grade. This is just something to do for fun. The live online draft, if it makes, will be held the night of Monday, August 31st at 8 p.m. So that is going to be next Monday. I think that's Monday. Should be Monday. Yeah. I'm terrible with calendars. So if you click on the link, open it in a new window, and you will click on Join this league. I've already joined it. So if I go over here, minimize this, you can see my team, the calculators. All right, so my team's already in there. And if I want to go and see how many people are already signed up, I'll go to League and Members, if it'll let me. Good grief. Yeah, there we go, Members. All right. So right now we've got a couple people. We need at least 8 for it to make. All right, need at least 8 players for it to make. Otherwise, it won't let me keep it. So it looks like we're doing okay for now. I think maybe once I get through the first day stuff with some of my late starts tomorrow, maybe we'll have a couple more sign up. All right. One thing to note, if you don't have an ESPN account, you'll need to make one, or your Disney Plus account might work if you have that. The max is set to 20. Again, we need at least 8. All right. Whoop, nope, that's not at least. Sorry, we're all rusty. All right. If they're less than 20, we'll adjust it down. If we don't have enough, then we just, we won't worry about it. We'll try it again later. It's just, you throw things against the wall to see if they stick. All right. When you are starting a lesson in this class, so here is Conversions Lab 1. All right. In a minute, I'm going to record a second video that is a new video of the Conversions Lab 1 where I go through the notes and everything. Right now, I'm just going to show you where everything is, how it's all laid out. So I don't know if on the student side you can see this here. That might just be for me. But that is a date lock. That means that this did not show up in my 16-week classes Moodle until yesterday. All right. For the late starts, it's not going to show up until tomorrow. Sorry, Conversions Lab 1 won't show up till the 31st. I misspoke. I didn't want to scare anybody. So for the late start, it'll show up on the 31st, like it says on the schedule. Every section will, at the top of it, tell you where to look in the textbook, what we're covering. Here is the video lessons folder. Right now, I'm going to have to redo those because they all have bad sound. All right. So I'll probably just take both of those out and piece it together into one video so that it works a little bit better for you. But I mean, you can still watch them. You really can't hear them because of the short I had in my microphone equipment. Okay, let's back up. All right, so there's the video lessons. It's just a tab there. Okay. Then any kind of resources will be after that. So first should always be the notes for the section. Every first section, by the way, should be called a skills practice. All right. What this means is it's just kind of going back over the concepts, giving you some practice problems, bringing it back to the front of your mind. It might be something that you've seen before. It might be something that you haven't. So, we'll just go through it together. After the notes, any other additional resources that you need will be listed there. Here is that student copy I was telling you about. This is the paper copy of the questions within the actual lab itself. Here is another resource. This is another table that I copied out of the textbook because the textbook for this is old and it's hard to find. And when I first started teaching this class, the people that ordered the textbook, some of them got it on time, some of them didn't. And we had to push on, and some of the people didn't have the textbook, so I had to copy it and put it in Moodle because they needed it and they didn't have it. After that is usually some old pictures of problems I've worked out. This one, I wasn't paying any attention to this one. I think this has incorrect information on it. I think I forgot to put that it was a nautical mile, or a knot was a nautical mile per hour. Maybe I forgot, maybe it wasn't that one. Maybe it was this next one. Oh, yeah, right here. Here's where I messed it up. Yeah, so just ignore that. That's wrong, and I haven't had time to fix it. That's a lie. I have had time to fix it. I just keep forgetting. All right, so more, images and stuff like that all the way down until we reach where the actual lab is. All right, so when you click on this, again, you only get one try. All right, one attempt. That's why you have a student copy, because you want to take the student copy, get your thoughts organized, get your answers figured out before you try to enter it in this. All right, that way you've seen the questions and it won't feel like an actual test. It'll just be more like it's called a quiz in Moodle, so it'll grade itself. So that's why I started calling it that too. Okay, so we're going to stop there. That's the end of the first day video. We will go next to the conversions lab, the new conversions lab video, once I get this uploaded into Moodle.